All right, Shalom. I want to say first before I get into it that I don't know, what's going on with this. It's bugging out. Hopefully when I click over and I get these precepts here, it's not doing all the extra. All right, I don't think it would. I don't think it will be. Okay. So anyway, um, say Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakodash. The double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops and the elders of GMS who rule as well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Ainal. The title of the video is Each Ceasefire Exposes the Wickedness of These Devils. And ultimately, the skirt of these devils has been lifted up. And I was looking at this. They're saying the warheads are growing globally for the first time in decades. And, we know what that means, regarding the nuclear war that's going to take place, and all the arrows be shot, on America. But anyway, Isaiah 47. Yeah, so you can see it's like red and all this is red. I was on YouTube, the search bar right here. I don't know, what's happening with it, but anyway, Isaiah 47 says, in 1, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. So you have to understand that these devils, went out and deceived the nations. They deceived the world, you know, to trick people that they are like just, the best thing since sliced bread, basically. Morally correct, you know, and all of that. Revelations 20:7, it says, and when 1,000 years are expired, Satan, which is adversary, that's what the word Satan means. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. So ultimately, Satan, the wicked, would ultimately battle Russia. That's Gog and Magog. If you look back, right, you think about Russia trying to join NATO, all these different attempts, to be buddy buddy with the West, and they just never allowed it. And the question is like, why not? You know what? And obviously, there's a end goal, agenda. As you can see, the many wars and the different things that take place in the world. They say the world is a stage, right? Because this devil has been given power over the earth, and his whole thing is to basically chip everyone, and have a digitally controlled civilization or a technocracy where he controls everything and he controls everyone and makes everyone like slaves, because that's the only way he believes that it can save himself from the wrath of Yahweh Bashman Shah. He wants to cut off what the Bible says. He wants to cut off prophecy, you know, and he's trying. His whole goal, his whole agenda is to achieve that. Even with this petrodollar, I was looking at when you go look at the debt clock and they got a little thing over in the right hand corner, you click it. I was reading, it was saying it was never meant to last forever. It was just a part of the plan, right? And now what are they moving to? The digital currency, right, which is also part of the plan. All right, this is another way how they deceived the nations, right? And now they got the nations basically on board with this plan. Even with this chip, let's say, for example, right now you got Russia president, China president, Iran president, American president, whatever the case may be, the elites, right? And then the elites have a plan where they're going to chip everybody. But the president's like, no, 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 I'm not going to chip myself. And he's like, all right, cool. But down the line, eventually, with everyone getting chipped, these elites going to have people in place that are now chipped too, right? Because, scripture said it wiser than Daniel. So eventually, that's what will happen, and they think they got time, to achieve this, and they don't. But that most likely is the mindset, if they are, in agreement with each other, as what is it, Psalm 50 goes into. What is it? Let me see if I can find that real quick. Psalms 55:20, I believe. It says, he hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. And it's perfect because it's going to my topic too. these ceasefires expose the wickedness of these devils, right? Because the more and more ceasefires that this devil do and break them, the more and more the nations see that they've been deceived and tricked, right, by the wicked. Because they're the only person on planet Earth doing that. You know, everyone else tries to respect ceasefires, you know, and the laws and things like that, but these devils do not. Psalm 55 and 21, it says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawing swords. And like I said, I don't know if that thing is tripping in the background or it looks fine here, you know, and if it is, you know, because that's like epilepsy, you know, things like that, it triggered, you know, people maybe, whatever the case may be, you just cut the screen off, you know, listen or whatever. Look at it. Anyway, Revelation 28, it says, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog. So they're eventually go to war with Russia because they want to control the whole world. And Russia even has been a problem, basically like a thorn in their side, basically. You know, we had a Cold War with Russia. They had to overthrow one of the presidents, basically, of Russia at one point. You know, so this has been an ongoing battle. It's going to end in World War III, basically. You know, because Russia is helping Iran. All right, it says Gog and Magog to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is at the stand of the sea. So it's going to be a great war, right? And that also goes into what I want to go into Ezekiel 38, because Russia, who's a major player, is watching how these devils are moving. Now he had to witness it with Ukraine and the different things that Trump's been saying and the different you know, ceasefire. Well, I don't think they ever had a ceasefire, but just different meetings. He had one ceasefire, I think. He was doing something, but they had different meetings, you know, regarding that situation, and Trump just lying his ass off, you know, Zelensky in office and shit, talking shit, you know, just all of those things happening to allow, you know, these devils to be exposed and how they're moving in these last days, because the scriptures say in Revelation 12 and 12 that he know they have a short time, so he's coming down with great wrath. So he's he's moving sloppy, right? He's not being as cunning as he was before because he don't have time and trickery to set things up perfectly. You know, a lot of things that's happening, he just moving, you know, to try to get to where he needs to be. Basically, you can see the walls closing in on him. Okay, so this is talking about Russia, right? And many people join Russia. Ezekiel 38 and 9 says, thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus said the Lord Yahweh Bashmel, it shall come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them, dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates, to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, talking about the land of Israel and also America, right? It was desolate because we were kicked out of our land, or we belonged there, but these devils pretended to be the Israelites and they moved up in there. Now they started wars, you know, with everybody. One famous quote is the Israelites left black and they came back white, right? It says, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land, right? So Russia is going to come against Israel and America, you know, and it says that it's going to think of Russia will think of evil thought. And basically, we can see how that's playing out because we're seeing the evil, you know, that these devils are doing, you know, to Russia, to the whole world. You know, might is right is the new going, as the president of the United States says. You know, if you have the power to do it, do it. And Russia right now has the most power regarding missile capabilities, right? No one can stop the type of missiles that Russia is producing and making, and that goes to the fact that the Most High is turning Russia back. All right, think about it. What nation on the planet Earth right now has been put down basically on different occasions, but now is you know, emerging? You know, that's Russia, right? Russia has these missile capabilities in doing these things and able to go out and fight different wars and have different people in different locations, things like America been that way, right? America been strong. It ain't America. All right. Ezekiel 38:4 says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws and will bring thee forth in all thine armies. So that's a good indicator right there. You might think, oh, it's China. China not really doing nothing. China is strong or whatever, but the army part and the military and all that is happening with Russia right now in the last days when everyone around the whole world is talking about, oh, I think it's the end. You know, it says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shield, all of them handling swords. So this is Russia that the Most High Yahweh Bashar has turned back, right? And these devils, are just being exposed as the wicked. So when Russia think this evil thought, they're not going to care. Even now, people are upset that Iran is even trying to do a ceasefire because the past two times they did a ceasefire and a negotiation, and then they got bombed. Right, the last ceasefire they had to get escorted by like 7 jets or so, from Pakistan, because they were just afraid of, they basically Israel and America to do something against these people, right? Isaiah 32:5, it says, the vile person shall no more be called liberal, no, nor the troll said to be bountiful. For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity to practice hypocrisy. He's a hypocrite, he set up all these UN, right? When someone else do something wrong, it's a problem. But when he do something wrong, no one's not supposed to say anything. Even with the ceasefire, they're saying that, oh, you cease, I fire. That's what they call it. Don't attack me, I want to attack you. Even might is right. Law of the jungle. This is what's happening around the whole world. No one, like I said, no one else on planet Earth is doing this. Just taking tankers, bullying people, trying to set up laws and different things to come basically lift yourself. And matter of fact, that's exactly what these devils did to us in America. Is what they're doing now to the world. And we've been doing though. But just like setting up different laws and things to keep Jake down, basically, right? And now you got that same type of thing happening to the nation by putting sanctions on them, and just outright taking shit. You had different so-called black communities that was built up, and Esau seen this and fear, gripped them basically because we're golden. We shine, we prosper. That's what we do. Jake gonna make something shake. Basically, it's gonna pop up. It's gonna happen. That it just worked that way for us. We're the salt of the earth. So anyway, Satan seen that, he got upset and fear gripped him. He basically destroyed it, and now he sees these nations rising up. Fear is gripping him. His end is here. So what is he doing? He jacking. He taking shit. Putting sanctions on motherfuckers. Pardon my Swahili. And he doesn't want people to accomplish nothing because he feels, that he's in last place basically. He is last place. But anyway, Isaiah 32:6, for the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity to practice hypocrisy and to utter error against the Lord Yahweh, to make empty the souls of the hungry, he will cause the drink of the thirst to fail. And that's what he's doing right now. What Trump says, the greatest reset ever. People are starving. People are dying. The world is collapsing. Right? It says the instruments also of the troll are evil. He devises wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needed speak of right. Right? And that's why it's coming to blows, right? They're fighting now. Because it's like, how long? And I got that, but I can't even see where it's at. How long? Habakkuk 2:5, it says, it says, behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. And we have faith, right? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, right? We know that everything in the scriptures is faithful in their truth. We're waiting on Yahweh Shai, and we see what Yahweh Bashar is doing right now. He's definitely protecting us, with all these people coming up missing and all this extra. But meanwhile, we're chatting down the downfall of this kingdom, right? And for them to be put into slavery and all of that, but yet we're still here, right? That day is coming where the Lord's going to allow them to move, but that's only to show his power, right? Brothers, the Israelites will get spiritual power, right? Things are going to happen. The angels swoop down, and all of these different things are going to happen so the Lord can show his power. All right, some of us will be martyrs, that's written in the scriptures also. All right, but the works do follow them. All right, so they're going to be crowned with that glory, if they are the elect when Yahushua pulls up and beams us all up. Habakkuk 2 and 4, behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yet also because he transgressed by wine, which goes into his laws, policy and things, he's a proud man. He has the ability, like I said, he had the ability to keep Jake down here, in America, and now he has the ability to keep the world down and to lift himself up. Right? Somebody do something he don't want to do, what? Sanction them. Anybody doing trade with this person, you're sanctioned. No one's dealing with you. Right, man, freezing bank accounts. I'm talking about like $500 billion in the bank account, freezing it, using it. They so-called froze Russian assets and giving it to Russia's fighting Ukraine. They freeze Russian assets in the bank account and send it to Ukraine to fight against Russia. That's the wicked. So that thought that Russia is going to think ain't going to be a hard thing. And I mean, shoot, the restraint that's happening now as the Lord, allows this thing to continue, the more and more this devil is bullying people, and all of that. Yet also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. They keep talking about this war that's supposed to take place with China. Every time they talk about how they're losing the missiles that they had stocked up, it's like, these were the missiles we had stocked up for war with China. And it's like, when is this war? What do you mean a war with China? When was this going to take place? That's what I be thinking about every time I hear it. They already had a provision set up away so they can go and roll on China. And so China was on the list. Russia obviously was on the list. They want to control the whole world. And from a point they do, because it's the banking, the international banking families behind the scenes, running these things, right, pushing forth the agendas and all of that, because they own the money, they own the banks, right, the Federal Reserve and all the other what is that? I forgot what it's called, central banks and all that. That's them. The Rothschilds own that, so they're controlling the money and how money is controlled, basically. And they're pushing for a system with digital, because then you have these tech guys, right, that these Rothschilds set up, fund, invest in their, different, ideas or whatever, the controlling ideas type of thing, that's what has happened pretty much. Now it has led us to this point. But America is still trying to hold that power, right? They have that seat that they had before. Habakkuk 2 and 6 says, shall not all these take a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, right? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. All right, and that thick clay is Ibakya, which is the debt, right? And America has that debt, which was needed. It's like, for every dollar you had, for every dollar you printed, you needed $4 a debt or something, basically, because the people needed the dollar, because everything was going through the dollar, like the petrodollar system that's no longer really effective like that, right? You needed to buy oil in dollars, so people needed the dollars. So what did they do? They bought the debt of America, But now that system is collapsing, It says, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booty unto them? Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee because of men's blood and for the violence of the land and of the city and of all that dwell therein. Yeah, this devil was coming down with great wrath, messing people up, blocking them, took Venezuela from China, now trying to take Iran from China and Russia, and they're not going to allow that to happen. That's not how long. Like relax. People. That's why people are saying now, what you're doing too much. You're going to cause more problems on the American nation. But anyway, jumping down right here, that's Habakkuk 2:16. It says, "Thou art filled with shame for glory, drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered." Right? The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful stealing shall be on thy glory. Right? So going back to the fact that he deceived nations and set himself up as like just this morally correct person, I abide by all the laws, this, that, and the third. When what made America great is the fact that they fucking killed, murdered, raped, robbed the Israelites and forced them into slavery and built up this nation. Jakes was out here, coming up with inventions, and all he did was take the inventions in the beginning, but then, they started doing the patents and all of that, so America was just sitting pretty off uh, the same shit they've been doing since the beginning, and now they're just doing it to the other nations as well. All right, and they're being exposed for it. The Most High is going to allow these nations to roll on America now, because America is at its end. All right, let me see what precepts I got over here. I read that. This is I'll get it from get it from 3. Second Thessalonians 2:3 says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed," right? The day of the Lord. Right. And the point I want is that the man of sin be revealed. So he's being revealed as the wicked, right? Job 9:24 says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. But you wouldn't even know that because he deceived the nations to just be like, we're good, we're chilling, because everything was set up for him. It says Second Thessalonians 2:4, it says, "Who opposeth," that's what calls Satan, he's adversary, "who opposeth," the scripture calls him Satan. It says, "Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he has God sit up in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now ye know what withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time." And the thing is, the fact that he's revealed, that the shameful stealing is him being revealed. And the people are saying how long? So, he can only be revealed for too long, before people start seeing this devil for who he is. Right? That's why we had to wait until this time now. All right. And now ye know what withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. This was during the Roman Empire. He was already at work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Right. So the Most High had a covering, because prophecy had to be fulfilled. He had to deceive the nations. Right. He couldn't be revealed back then, but he's been revealed right now in a big way. All right. And again, that's why all these ceasefires, and that's what I didn't get. Let me grab where I'm at. I don't even know where I'm at up here. So let me get what I was gonna grab. I forgot. I think this is what I was gonna grab. I forgot. Anyway, Second Thessalonians 2:7 says, "For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall the wicked be revealed, and the Lord Yahweh Bashmiah Shai shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming." All right, so he's destroying them with the spirit of his mouth, which is the prophets, right? The Bible, the scriptures. He has set up men, right, to be faithful, sincere, and true, right, to stand boldly and proclaim the words of Yahweh without wavering, right? That's that fire of the scriptures, all right? And then it says, "And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming." Then he comes, and he's not going to meet these devils as a man. As Isaiah 63. I believe it is. All right. It says Second Thessalonians 2:9, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. So this devil is coming with lying wonders, powers, and signs, right? And all he do is lie, right? We just had another incident of that with this stage event, right? And this devil has been doing stage events from the beginning. It's a lot of them. People point out different things, going even back to the moon landing, which they can't go to the moon. They can't get out of space. They've been all out there. All these rockets. Elon Musk out here landing rockets, they're taking them off and landing back. And what's up with these other nations? Russia got the best missile capability in the world, missiles in the sky, just hovering of nuclear energy, but they not in the well, they do it a little bit, I guess. You got the International Space Station, but they can't get past that, you know? They would have been did it. All right. They're only waiting on it's the end of the world. They got all these drones and AI, and that's Esau, ask AI how to get to the moon, bro. Second Thessalonians 2:9. It says, even him who is coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, right? And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. Yeah, so Satan is coming with these lying wonders that these people out here can believe them and basically just perish because the Lord Yahweh Bashar don't want them to get it, right? So peace and peace and safety. That's what I wanted. I was thinking about earlier. I was like, damn, I forgot it. The Lord Yahweh Bashar. So First Thessalonians 5:3, it says, so when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as to dwell upon a woman, with child, and they shall not escape. And this is just pointing to the fact that every time they say peace and safety, then destruction coming, right? And these devils is doing it, because the day of the Lord, mind you, the Most High is against all these nations, pursuant to Isaiah 34. Whoever's getting destruction, somebody's gonna get it. We know America's gonna get the ultimate destruction in the end. But every time they say peace and safety, like, okay, let's negotiate. Somebody breaking that ceasefire. And 9 times out of 10, it's the wicked, the devils, right? The Edomites, which is the white males here in America, right? And over in the land of Israel. BB, not a Jew, and Mirror 47. Right? These devils can't get right because they're the wicked. But so pretty much that's all I had. Lord willing, you edify from the lesson. I'll say shalom to the whole elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.